Hi T, thank
Hello.
you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So T, I want our audience to get to know you a little bit better. So as I already mentioned guys, so T is our head of operations here at the Airways Aviation GoldCoast Airport. He also does a lot of other stuff. T, I want to go back 10, 15 years. I want to know, why did you even decide to become a pilot?
Oh, because it was a dream of mine when I was a child. You know, I didn't endeavour on becoming a pilot until I was a bit later in life. You know, I think I was 25, 26.
Wow, really? That's very unconventional, right? So
I guess so, yeah. I did a lot of travel and worked in different areas in the world, you know. Lived in Dubai for a year, lived in New Zealand, Australia, different parts of Australia. So
did that inspire you maybe, or?
not really. I was actually, one day I was thinking, what did I want to do when I was a child? What did I always dream of doing? You know, most people say I've dreamed of becoming a pilot since I was at quite a young age. So yeah, I remember the glistening lights in the 737 Air New Zealand, you know, off the homeland. And I remember that to this day. I was quite young back then. And now I get to fly, not 737s, but aircraft.
But you're teaching instructors and students, so that's amazing. All right. So where did you do your training, if I may ask?
I did my training in New Zealand at Southern Wings. Then I came across to Australia and conducted my flight instructor rating with Airways Aviation, just worked my way through the ranks.
And how long have you been with Airways Aviation now?
Oh, we're going on 6 years.
Wow. Yeah. Wow, you're one of our senior members here.
I guess so, yeah.
Right. And I've actually interviewed a bunch of other students right here. So some of my audience has probably seen the previous episodes. Some of the students had really, really important things to tell about you. They had really good stuff to say about you, which is why I wanted to ask you, as an instructor, what is that thing you're looking for when you're doing your training? What's your most important goal or motto when you're
for a
training
student?
students? Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess a bit of enthusiasm goes a long way. I guess you know, it's easy to persevere when things get hard if you enjoy, you know, at the fundamental level, you enjoy most of it. So when it gets really tough and you go, oh, I don't know if I can continue doing this, that perseverance is quite strong when it's enjoyable. So enthusiasm, in my opinion, is probably one of the most important things, and that carries yourself.
And what would you tell the students out there who are probably all around the world, maybe struggling, maybe they're unable to get their solo done and they're having a horrible landing? What would be your advice for such students out there?
Oh, those days don't last very long, you know. You soon
there,
get
right?
it. Yeah. You soon get it, and you'll remember them, but they'll become less of something that you remember.
Hello.
They'll become something less that you sort of, you know, you don't remember those days, and they don't form part of your identity.
Right.
You know?
Now, when you were doing your pilot training, becoming a flight instructor, was that like a natural thing? Were you good in instructing? Was that why you thought of becoming an instructor, or what inspired you, or what made you take up the instructor as a career?
I guess it was sort of an organic process. I did my flight training. When I started that, I had the idea that I wanted to be a 777 captain, and 6 months in, I realized that that's not what I wanted to do. So yeah, I learned more about the industry as a whole, and it just came to fruition of going, okay, what's going to get me up in the sky, enjoy going to work every day? Can I go home every day? Can I live and work and fly in a desirable area like the Gold Coast?
Stable life, you mean? Right?
Yeah.
Very stable life.
Yeah, work something that's a bit more consistent.
Okay. See, there's a lot of people out there. Airline life is great. If you're passionate about it, that's perfect. But there are, for example, myself, I wasn't a very big fan of the airlines. All my friends who graduated with me are flying for the airlines, but that's completely all right, guys. So if you're questioning yourself, maybe you've completed your training and you're wondering, it's all right. There are lots of other options. If you have always wanted to become an airline pilot, sure, pursue that pathway. If not, there are lots of other pathways as well. Yeah. And one last question before we end this. What is your biggest challenge as an instructor? Because a lot of students out there who just graduate are telling me, maybe I'll become a flight instructor, but they're not really passionate about it. Maybe they don't have the right skills to become an instructor. But just because there's a lot of instructor availability at the academy, some students might end up pursuing this. So for such students, what would you say? What are the most important skills you would need before you think of actually becoming an instructor?
Well, I guess I normally say to instructors, I say, oh, think of the times where you've sat in the aircraft with an instructor and you've really enjoyed it, or when you're assigned to do a flight maybe tomorrow or next week, where you're going to go flying with a specific person, and if it makes you feel really good, take some of those elements, think back to that time, and try to start implementing them yourselves, because it's really our job as instructors to make students feel the most comfortable in that aircraft. It's natural to feel a little bit nervous, anxious when you're sitting with someone new, a flight instructor. You kind of look up to them. There's a bit of a gradient there, so it's our job to level that gradient out enough so that everyone's in a more prime learning environment mentally. So less stressful environment. I guess you have to have some patience and
Oh yeah, definitely, right?
be very student-centered. You can't go out there and do things for yourself because it's not about you. It's about your student, the person that you're teaching. So
probably that's one of the reasons why the students love you here. From what I've heard over the last 1 week, students love you, the way you interact with them. And that's a great thing. Thank you so much for that. And for all of our international students watching this right now, don't give up. As my instructor always used to say, passion, persistence, and patience. If you can bring these 3 qualities to the table, the rest of the stuff, you can figure it out.
yeah.
Is there any one last final statement you would like to talk to our international audience?
Oh, I'd say if you've got the means and it's your dream, just go for it. Don't think about how tough finding a job is in the airline. It's inevitable that it'll happen if you just continue to persevere. So go for gold, I'd say.
Thank you so much. That was lovely.
Thank
you
you.
for talking to us today. And guys, if you have any more questions, feel free to get in touch with us and we'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Excellent.
All right.